Good evening. This is Principal Hill and our administrative team, our Team One. We welcome you to our State of the School Address Title I meeting. Before we begin, I just want everyone to know the Brown Bears are ready to roar again. We're excited about having the kids come back to the school on a limited basis, but we'll at least be able to see our kids every single day, and we're excited about that. We'll also be keeping the virtual option as well, so don't worry about that. And I apologize in advance about the mask, but this mask protects all of us. And the reason why I'm stressing that, and we'll stress it throughout the presentation today, because we need this to help each other out to make sure the doors of AJB stay open. So without further ado, welcome. Let's get at it. Thanks, everybody. So I want everyone to know our goal is to make our scholars, they have access. And so we came up with an acronym for our teachers called AAA, where it's about access, attendance, and academics. And it's important, these three factors, if the kids have access, that's why you're getting the computers, the Chromebooks. That's why we have the virtual learning. We built a virtual hub. National Heritage Academies built a virtual hub so we could provide the academic programming to ensure that learning did not cease. Attendance, whether it's virtual or remote, we need you to be here every single day because you're still being measured. There's still going to be assessments. There's still going to be a test. There's still going to be expectations. We still have conferences. You're still going to get grades. We need your help to make sure the kids are here every single day for attendance. We'll talk more about that later as well. And also the academic piece, no matter how hard things are, the academia must stay high for our kids to close the gap. We cannot be any different than any other school out there in this country. We're all dealing with the same set of variables and the same stimuli. And based on everything that we've been through, we have done a really good job trying to work through all the problems, although not perfect. We want to make sure that we do our very best. But if you give your input to help us, we can make things even better. So when we get back to our hybrid model and kids come back to school 2 days a week, which we'll talk about later, or if you remain in virtual, we need that feedback. We want to make sure that everyone knows the 4 W's of access. Now, we've given this to our teachers as well. Who the teachers are, what each teacher teaches, and when to report to the teachers, and where to find the classes, whether it be here in school, which is pretty obvious when you come to school, or even online. So that who, what, where, when, and where is very, very important, because if your child knows where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do, and how to access the information, they become a part of the community of education. That it's like a big learning circle, and we need everybody to make this circle go round to make sure everyone understands where things are supposed to be. I know parents, when you come into the building, you have a multitude of questions, and the more we can ascertain and answer those questions, the more we can help you, so you can help us make your scholar successful. So without further ado, I need you guys to put in the chat box on the side, if you're attending this informational night, your name, first name and last name, along with your email address if possible, but definitely your name, first name and last name. We can look you up in the system and call you back. Or put your comments in the section, and I have my family student liaisons, they're monitoring those questions. So if we don't answer them tonight, we will get back to you on those questions that you have in the future. So please write those questions down. I just want to remind you and thank Mr. Adrian Mickens again for helping us set this up. I can't imagine how we do these live events the way that we're doing it through an app, and to be able to see things on our Facebook page is truly amazing how far we've come as a school entity in the past 7 years. We've had to grow and get our A game on, because we didn't know that we would have to deal with so many things that would impact learning. And we stepped up, because we want to make sure we don't let you down. Academics in the spring, our primary focus was making sure everyone was safe and their social emotional well-being. We wanted you to know that we have done a lot of things to create resources and have interventions in place to deal with the social emotional piece of kids' learning and well-being. And what do I mean by that? It's hard. It's hard to be away from school for so long. I know personally for me, when I wake up every day and I don't see kids in the building, it becomes kind of monotonous and frustrating. You don't know days from nights and nights from days. And this has an impact on kids. The stresses that parents are feeling right now in terms of everything they're going through with their jobs and work, and in trying to make sure you got things going on the work side, but you still have to make sure your child is doing the right things on the school side. You put all those things together, and that's a lot of pressure for everybody. And so we know there's going to be some needs for kids to talk to. They're going to be so excited, but we know they're going to be full of energy, and they're going to just want to talk about their experiences, and we welcome that because they need to be able to talk about the things they went through. So we created a coordinated plan with all of our personnel around making sure that we address every kid, and we want to make sure that every kid, when they come to school, at least has one person they can count on or talk to, whether it be a teacher, an interventionist, front office staff, registrar, the nurse, anybody, principal. We want to make sure, board member, we want to make sure that everyone has a person to talk to really make sure they're heard and we can validate their feelings. And if they feel it, it's real. So it's important for you guys to understand our focus is learning, but we also want to be holistic with the child. Attendance. I know this has been a big hot topic, everybody. Attendance every day, and what does that look like? So when we have face-to-face two-way communication, the students must be present and they also must be engaged. Both things have to happen for them to be counted here as present. It is a two-step process. I'm going to turn it over to Dean Perry and Dean Davis to discuss what that two-step process looks like, because it's very important that you understand so that you don't get those calls that you don't want. So with that, Dean Perry.
Okay. So like Principal Hill said, attendance is a two-step process. So for attendance to happen, not only do we need to see your child, but we also need them to complete work. Okay. And so this is, a lot of you guys have been calling us saying that you're getting those phone calls, and usually it's because your child is missing either the work completion portion or we have not seen your child within classrooms. And so please make sure that your child is attending live sessions, that they're answering attendance questions, that they're reaching out to their teachers, because that's how they're getting that two-way communication part. So we need to be able to see your child. We need to be able to communicate with your child. So that's the first step. The second step is work completion. So if your scholar is logging on and completing work daily, they need to continue that practice. If they're not, you guys need to get them to do that practice. So that students need to be completing work daily. If students do not have a two-way communication, they are technically absent for the whole week. Okay, so for the whole week. So I'm going to repeat that. If students do not have two-way communication, they are absent for the whole week. So we really need for your scholars to make sure that they are communicating with their teachers throughout the week, and that they have that face-to-face and that one-to-one. And then when that teacher is reaching out to them, that they're doing things like answering those emails, that they're responding to posts that we might make. So please make sure that your scholar is not just coming on and typing here. That is not present. That is not coming to school. So please make sure that your scholar is engaged in the process.
Thank you. Dean Davis, do you want to add anything?
I just want to reiterate, it is 2 steps, and we call it the two-way communication. Your child has to actually attend class, just as if they were face-to-face in the building, even when they're virtual, and they have to do work. So on a day, a child may attend class or not attend class, and you may get a phone call, or you may not get a phone call and you think that everything's fine, your student was in class. But then if they don't complete any work within that 24 hours, then on Friday, when we reconcile the attendance, that student was absent. So it's always 2 steps. It's just as if they were in the classroom. They can't just come to class and not do any work or not talk to the teacher or sleep the whole time during class. They need to make sure that they are there, engaged, and get assignments completed.
So you can see, going back to that AAA model before we move on, we have access that we talked about, attendance, which is very important. And if they get in the door, we can then do the academics. So it's very important that we make this circle go around. And we know it's not easy. We know it's a lot, but everything is a lot right now. And we got to make sure that we still check every boxes for state reporting, to make sure that we have instruction happen at a high level, and we can only do that if your kids are engaged. So please help us so we can help your scholars. As we move forward, we talk more about those assessments. We're going to get into iRead. What is iRead? Well, many of you know what iRead is, but just in case you don't, it's an evaluation of reading skills for all third grade students in the state of Indiana. And this year, fourth grade students will take the iRead test as well. I repeat, this year, fourth grade students will take iRead as well again because they didn't take it last year because the state canceled the test. So we're in preparation, get everyone ready to go for fourth grade iRead. Dean Spivey, when's the iRead test for fourth grade?
The week of November 6th.
The week of November 6th is the fourth grade iRead exam. Fourth grade, week of November 6th. So it's coming up quick. Content is divided into 3 parts with iRead. It's nonfiction, fiction, and vocabulary. So these are the things that we'll be working on in addition to the other stuff that we have to catch students on as well. But we want to make sure our scholars are ready to go. So if you're at home and you want to help us out with some of the materials that we send home and help us with some of the nonfiction, fiction, and vocabulary things that we'll be sending home with your scholars, please make sure to help us because we're going to all have to be in this together to make sure these kids are ready to go for that examination. We have an IDEO blueprint, and see, based on that blueprint, you can see the percentages or amounts that are included in the IDEO blueprint for iRead. So basically, 25 to 35% is about vocabulary, 30 to 40% is based on nonfiction, and 30 to 40% is based on literature. So these are the breakdowns of things that are on the test. So you might have a score on your iRead exam where you do exceptionally well on one category, but then you don't do so hot on another category. And but it's weighted differently. So if you do exceptionally well in vocabulary, but you do poorly on literature, it's not apples to apples. It's close, but it could impact the test scores of passing or not passing. So the thing is, you want to be good at everything. You just can't put all your eggs in one basket and say, hey, I can really do well in this vocabulary, but I don't have to worry about the literature piece. Can't do that. You've got to be good at everything so that one thing doesn't impact the score in its collective whole. The assessment also measures formal reading standards. It identifies main idea and supporting details, which is huge. Use information from text to comprehend. Recall major points and make predictions about what is read. Determine what characters are like by what they say and do. Distinguish between basic text elements, problem, solution, fact, and opinion, cause, and effect. So these are all the things that are included in things that scholars must work on in terms of mastering these strategies to be successful on this iRead examination. And we realize the more they practice, the more they go over it and over it again, the better it is, because they just can't show up for the test and expect to get it right. They need to practice. They need to read. And reading is very important. And so as we go on, here's an example sample question for fiction. The author writes, I know something is strange, Sarah said. Which of these words means the same thing as strange? Is it regular? Is it scary? Is it weird? Is it funny? So when you look at this question, these are some of the types of questions that they will ask. And you have to do a lot of deductive reasoning, process of elimination. What are the words they know versus don't know? How does it apply within the sentence? Look at the context within the sense of what that word is being used. These decoding skills that they need to figure things out. And they might say, I don't know how to do this. This doesn't make sense. But if they use their struggle bubble and really use a lot of their skills that they know how to investigate and really use process of elimination and use these skills that we're teaching them at school, they'll be able to figure things out. Our kids are amazing decoders. They are amazing at figuring things out. If I give your sons and daughters $5 and I said, I need 5 ones back and change, I can guarantee you they'll figure it out, even if they have to give me pennies, quarters, nickels, or dimes. This is an amazing way to get kids to use problems and stress their struggle bubble out, so they have to figure things out and problem solve. What are we doing to prepare your child? Well, we have iReady. We have small group instruction. We have ERLA. We have after-school tutoring. And one thing that's on here, we have day-to-day instruction. Tier 1 instruction is huge because that is the basis of making sure that everything's being done at the surface level. That Tier 1 means everybody. And we have to make sure that we have a solid core instruction process to make sure that kids get it. And if they don't get it, then it raises up that level to Tier 2. Not maybe they didn't get it at Tier 1. And then if they don't get it at Tier 2, then we really intensify laser light to give them a Tier 3 intervention. So they might need some other things to help support their learning. The I Read Pledge. We talked about reading, right? I promise to read at least 30 minutes a night. Go for 60. Arrive at school on time and prepared for a full day of instruction. And it's going to be hard when kids come back to school. Why? Because they haven't been in school for a while. They're going to want to play. They're going to want to mess around a little bit. And we get that. We're going to give them time to adjust. But we got to get the business in because we have to close that gap. So we still have to talk to them about minding their behaviors, making sure they're ready to learn. Parents, we need your help with this because our scholars are going to listen to you parents more than they listen to us, and it's a two-way street, and we need to work on that communication, and we'll work with you, but we need your help to make sure your kids are ready to go when they walk in the doors of AJB again. Complete all homework assignments given by the school and ask for help when necessary, and they will always strive to give 100% daily. 100%, not 99, not 95, not 50%, not when I want to learn, 100% each and every day. We need that. In these times, our kids have to do more, be more, and give more, and we as adults have to do more, be more, and give more. And that's how we get ahead. That's how we do it. So I want to give you some data. Where are we at? And I think data is important. The emotion is good, the rah-rah is good, and I love doing that, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the data. So I want to show you the last data that we had because we really didn't have much data from last year. So I'm giving you the last data that we have to go by, that we want to continue to prove upon. So as you know, state testing was omitted due to COVID-19 in 2019 and 2020. And despite the proficiency decreases on the state new test, that's the new test that we just took, AJB gained ground against the state of Indiana. Overall, AJB gained 2 percentage points against the state of Indiana. So you can see in ELA, we were minus 2%. Math, we were up 2%. Science, we were up 12%. Social studies, we were down negative 1%. For all subjects, we went up 2%. So we outperformed. This is for the state. And if we compare ourselves to IPS, we did really well. So I want you guys to understand, even though that we could do better, we still gained against the state average. So everyone went way down. We didn't go down as much. So I want everyone to be aware that our teachers are working very hard. So we wanted to avoid that slide so we didn't hit rock bottom. And we didn't, but we still know that we don't want to slide anymore. We want to go back up again. We want to gain even more momentum against the state. I'd like to see that double digits next year to at least 10%. So be aware of that. Also, proficiency rates. Due to the state change between 17-18 and 18-19, this year's state test results are not comparable to last year's results. So this is an example of how we do things when it comes to assessing. So we compare year to year. So 2018, 2019, we have the preliminary proficiency results. I will take these preliminary proficiency results and compare them to this year of 20 and 21. And we'll have to gauge just how much we have gained over these past couple of years to see how far we've dipped or how far we've come. And there's going to be a little bit of gap. It's going to be a little bit interesting how we do things because we have that year in between and we still have to use other measurements. And don't worry, we do have those measurements. That's why we had NWA last year. We have multiple modalities to help us fill in those voids to see how much we really grew in proficiency and how much we didn't grow. And so we have a plethora of assessments to help us ascertain just how far your child needs to grow and what their weaknesses are. Student tenure, this is really, really, really powerful data right here. And pardon, car alarm, sorry about that. So this piece of data right here for student tenure, if a student stays here at AJB, and this is important, when they stay at AJB, we do amazing things. So this is not just compared to IPS. This is compared to all students in the state. At AJB, students enrolled for 3 or more years outperform their peers in all subject areas except social studies, not just IPS, across the entire state. And so that is a testimony to the staff here at our school. In our retention rate with our teachers, and I know a lot of our teachers, I have to, they love being here, and I have to ask them every year, please, 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 stay. They don't do it for me. Trust me, they don't. They don't do it for Team One necessarily. They do it because they love your children. End of story, exclamation point. They love your children, and they stay. And they may not make as much money as other systems. They put up with a lot of things, but when you take away when the smoke clears and the dust settles, they're here because they truly care about making a difference. And so I thank our staff for these wonderful results. And as long as our staff stays here and we can keep our teachers here and we keep our students here, that is a recipe for success and greatness. And it takes two. It takes two. And so we need you, parents. When you come back to the school, our teachers and our interventionists, they're just as much heroes as doctors and nurses. Let them know that, they're heroes, because they really are. They truly are. And we're doing everything we can, but just to hear those words of affirmation from the community that we serve is huge. So please let them know. And this speaks volumes. So the longer your kids stay here, the better off they are, and the better results it is for them long term. As we continue, DriveLine is here. What is DriveLine? Yay! Parents, you don't have to say, hey, why do I have to come into the building and get out my car? As long as you're on time, you can just drop your kids off at the front door. And even at the end of the day, we're going to bring your kids out to you. So what is DriveLine? We're putting together and adding additional layers of safeties and social distancing for this whole process to take place. Basically, I'm going to give you the quick version. You're going to get 2 cards per family with a number on it. Okay? 2 cards per family with a number on it. That number might say 100. Okay? That is your number. So when you roll up or drive up to the front door, you're not going to give your name. You're just going to say, here's number 100. That 100 then gets put back into the school. We know student James Hill is in classroom of Miss Huddlemeyer, and here I come. We'll bring the child out to your car every day, rain or shine. Welcome to DriveLine. Now here's what I ask you. It's going to take a while, people. I need you to drive in here with some sense, because I know some people get impatient with waiting on kids because you got places to go, meetings to get to, and people to see. Please be patient. We'll get better and better and better. I got to witness at our sister school up in Indiana and Gary. The process took a little bit longer than anticipated, but by the end, it's working like clockwork. And so if you can be patient with us, remember, this is a very expensive, comprehensive system that we're utilizing. It's brand new. So if you're patient and you drive up here, it also promotes safety in our parking lot. So you're going to be woven through the parking lot. Please drive slow, be patient. Within a week or 2, things should be moving pretty quickly. It'll probably take a week or 2 before the staff and our parent stakeholders and our students all get used to it. So please, there'll be more information about DriveLine, and the bullet points that you see here will be in the newsletter that's coming out shortly. But I'm really excited about it. So please, drive slow, be safe, and help us out. Masks are a must. This thing right here, yes, it's helpful because it protects me, it protects your children, and yes, it might be burdensome, and I have to keep pulling up on my face sometimes, and I might be sweating a lot underneath you when I'm talking, but I'd rather have that happen than risk a child getting COVID-19, to be honest with you. So we need to protect each other. Masks are a must, okay? It's part of our uniform code. So if they don't have a mask, we'll have extra here. We don't have a lot to provide kids. It's not nothing that we do, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we provide that need of safety for all. So make sure your child has masks when they come to school. It is part of our expectation for dress code. We also, school supply list can be found on our website, provided by their classroom teachers. And student and staff and our school community safety is a top priority. Please do your part in helping keep our school and family safe. Basically, long story short, wear your uniform. Mrs. Walker, you can wear blue pants this year. I'm calling you out, Mrs. Walker. Yes, I'm keeping my promise. You can wear blue or tan slacks this year, people. Everything else is the same, but we're putting blue slacks back into the mix. So you can wear blue slacks. Thank you for your patience. Wear your uniform. Please don't try to make it difficult. You know, it's not the jeggings. It's not, half cut off or, ripped jeans or anything like that. Please stay true to the uniform policy, because the more we have to deal with a uniform or a mask, that is time taken away from that child from learning. And so help us, because we don't have, one thing that you can't get more of is time. So we really need your help to make sure when kids come to school, they're ready to learn, and being in the right, correct uniform is a part of that. AJB uniform policy. I'm going to take an air break here, and I'm going to give this to Dean Davis to go through this if she doesn't mind.
Okay, students in grades K through 8 are required to wear white or navy shirts with collars. All pants are to be uniform style pants, shorts, or skirts. Skirts must be knee length for the students, and all uniform bottoms must be khaki or tan, with the exception of, we have added back navy blue pants for the 2021 school year. Our school approved uniform colors may be visible. White undershirts are the only undershirts they can wear. Please do not wear striped or decorative undershirts that you can see through your shirt. Cold weather attire may include solid blue sweaters only, AJB spirit wear, or AJB blue sweatshirt hoodies. All cold weather attire must be free of any designs or patterns or emblems or writing. Hats of any kind may not be worn inside the building unless we're having crazy hat day or some kind of spirit day that requires a hat. Black belts must be worn with all pants that have belt loops. Shirts must stay tucked into pants or skirts. Socks or tights that are visible must be white only. No stripes, no leggings under the skirts. If you're wearing tights, they must be white only. Jeans and sweatpants are not considered school uniform attire. Even if they're the right color, sweatpants and jeans are not considered school uniform attire. They must be uniform pants.
Thank you. As we go forward, you heard the school-wide uniform policy, daily building-wide routines, procedures, and precautions. This is absolutely imperative. And as we discuss with you the things that we need, we know it's a lot. Just know that there'll be other information coming out in our newsletter that reinforces what we're talking about. We're just trying to get you ready to go. And that's why we're having a multitude of these live events. I'm trying to talk with you and not at you. I'm not trying to be ultra principal-ish, if you will. I'm just trying to speak to you as a dad or as a parent so you guys can understand where I'm coming from and what is needed for us to be successful. So I'm gonna get a little bit more intense and a little bit more serious on these procedures and precautions because it's regarding safety of our staff. With that being said, breakfast, it's going to be grab and go. So when students enter the building, they have to maintain social distancing. The outside parking lot is marked. We're going to have the inside of the school marked. They will grab their breakfast. They will bring it to the classroom, and they will eat their breakfast in their rooms. Restroom breaks. Students, if you're listening, you're going to have to get used to this. So use the restrooms at home before you come. They'll be scheduled by classrooms, and the facilities will be sanitized frequently. We have to make sure we limit the amount of movement for tracing purposes. Heaven forbid if someone does get COVID, we live in an interesting world. We need to make sure we narrow down to help the other people within that area where that student or that staff member may have had was walking around the building if they do have COVID, so we can trace to let you know. So that's why we have to be a little bit strict and rigid with these expectations. It's safety. And safety we can't have any accidents when it comes to safety. We got to do our part, but you have to do your part too. Teachers will transition from class to class. Instead of students moving, teachers will be moving. So if I have social studies and I'm in my seat, I'll be able to stand up and get a stretch break, and move my feet a little bit, but I will stay in that room. The teachers will move during passing time, not the students. Why? It eliminates the amount of traffic so that we can trace if something were to happen. We don't anticipate it, but we want to land in the clouds, but we also want to be prepared for the worst. In addition, teachers will transition from the classes I mentioned. This includes art, music, PE, and technology. Lunch will also be eaten in the classroom. They'll still line up, go through the line in the cafeteria or the cafenasium. They'll still come through that line, but they will get their lunch and they'll go back to the classroom and eat lunch there as well. Classroom floors and hallways will be marked for social distancing, and students will be called out for dismissal by families using the drive-line protocol that we just implemented, which we just referred to allow for social distancing and better contact tracing. Safety. I'm going to go back to it again. I'm going to reiterate it. It's going to take everybody to join forces and be patient. And I like to use the word grace. We're going to have to give a lot of grace and a lot of patience, especially for the first couple of weeks of school. We're excited to have the Brown Bears roar again, but we're going to need patience and grace and work together and we have to teach those routines and procedures. So please help us so we can help you again. Got a lot of text messages now, and I'm seeing some questions. The blue and gray day. This is our hybrid schedule. Mondays and Tuesdays are blue days. Blue days are A days. Blue students, gray students. We're going to make it easier. A is blue, B is gray. You just need to remember, parents, students, if you're a blue student or a gray student, okay? Blue student or a gray student. Blue students will come Monday and Tuesday. On Monday and Tuesday, they'll be in school. Then on Wednesday, everybody will be taught virtually or asynchronously. Everybody. Teachers will still report the work and will still be checking in, but students will be working on their own asynchronously that day. Say that 5 times. The gray students will come to school on Thursday and Friday. Gray students will come to school on Thursday and Friday. Wednesday, they're working asynchronously too. So we will send this home in the newsletter, this schedule. You will see it. But we want to make sure that everyone understands. Transportation, someone asked me that question. Buses are already being worked upon, the stops. You'll get notification of who, if your child is a blue student or a gray student. We're going to try to keep all families together. We don't want to divvy them up. So if I'm the father of these 4 children here, I couldn't resist, sorry. I want to make sure as a dad that all my kids are coming to school at the same time. I don't want Miss Davis and Miss Cummings going to school on different days if I'm in the same household, because that might ruin your schedule that you'll try to create to accommodate this hybrid schedule. So we're going to try to put families here first on the same days as their other siblings. That's number 1. We sent home a survey to let parents know if they wanted to come remote or virtual. That survey concludes tonight. Information was sent out over the weekend. You had 5 days to do it. Tonight at midnight, that survey closes. Once we get the information of those numbers, then we'll start looking at and analyzing the families and dividing those kids up in the blue and gray days, and we will notify you before the first day of school. As we do that, transportation will be working on those kids too, so they can establish those routes. Those routes will be sent to you as well. So we got a lot of work to do in a very short period of time, but it will get done. So again, blue is Monday, Tuesday. Gray is Thursday, Friday. On Wednesday, everyone works at home asynchronously. Again, more information to follow. Transportation. Mondays and Tuesdays, your child will be brought to school and brought home if they ride the bus. Thursday and Friday, your child will be brought to school and brought back home if they ride the bus. It's going to be school as normal as possible in a shortened version. And the reason why we're doing this, because it eliminates the number of kids in the building at one time. So only half the kids will be here on Monday and Tuesday. The other half will be here on Thursday and Friday. And because we're trying to social distance and give space to our kids, it's the safest way we can operate business to make sure that kids are safe. Now, obviously, this is subject to change. Right now, the infection rates are at a good level. And I can promise you that my NHA colleagues and my board, we're not going to compromise people's safety. We're going to do everything we can. So as it stands right now, we're full steam ahead. And we're looking forward to October 19th. I know I'm excited for the blue kids to come back. And I'll be equally excited on that Thursday when the gray kids come back. And I just want to remind people, there's going to be people that want to hug each other and reach out. I know I want to give a lot of high fives. Hey, just go crazy and, hug some kids and say, hey, we got to be mindful of that. So I need teachers and parents, students. Remember, we can give dap with elbows and arms, but we still have to maintain our social distancing. And so we got to help each other out because, we want to show the love. I know you guys want to give the love, but we got to be very, very careful because we got to be mindful. We're still going through some things in our city and at our school that we want to stay open. So please, as much as we're going to have to give air hugs, all the air hugs in the world, as many as you want, people, but we have to make sure that we remind ourselves, kids, that as much as we want to give you big, gigantic hugs, it's got to be of the air variety, okay? So please help us out because we're excited to see you. Show us with your smiles and how happy you are to be here because we're going to show you our smiles too. Anything else on the gray, blue days, the hybrid schedules, ladies, that I forgot? Will students have recess? I'm going through some of the questions right now. What's wrong?
Limited time. It's hard to keep it clean when you said no to the
Okay. On opposite days when students are not in school, are they virtual as well? Yes. Well, one of the questions came in on opposite days when the students are not in school, are they virtual as well? Dean Perry, you want to answer it nice and loud, and I'll go through the questions so we can get to some of them?
Yes, they are.
So on those days when they are not in person, face to face, they may still be called into small groups by their teacher or their interventionist just to make sure that they understand what the expectations are and that they understand what's going on. So yes, they will still have support on those days that they're asynchronous, working at home, even though they're not face to face. They still have adult support available.
Next question. Will bus transportation be available for newly enrolled families? If there is a spot, you go on a waiting list, and hopefully there will be a spot available. It depends. That's the best answer I can give to you because right now we have people that have already signed up for those slots. And if you're a new family, I'm not saying no. I just don't know if there's a room for you yet. That's why we have to get the numbers first. Hopefully there will be. But as soon as we know, we will follow up with you. Make sure you let our front office staff know that you need a bus stop, and they will put you on the waiting list for a stop to be given to you. Will students have recess?
No. So the plan is for them not to have recess on those 2 days that they're in the building, just because we want to keep them safe. We want to keep them social distance, and we know how hard it is for children when they're playing on the playground to social distance. And we have to make sure that the equipment is continuously cleaned. And with the amount of classes that we have here, it will be hard to clean in between each set of classes. We want to make sure that those days that they're in the building that we can focus on that academics, and make sure that they understand everything that they need to know so that when they're off working asynchronously, they can work successfully with minimal support from adults.
These are great questions. Students will have brain breaks though
Mhm.
within their classrooms. You know, they have a chance to, you know, get some exercise in. So don't worry about that. We realize the importance of not sitting in a chair all day. There's going to be some physical movement within the classroom, but again, the more we limit the amount of movement, the better it is. We're going to try to give them the best experience possible, so they can get some of that energy out. We know how important it is, so we'll do our very best to make sure they have a plentiful amount of brain breaks. Okay. Someone asked at the beginning of the year, we chose to have our students go online only, but because of how difficult it was for us, we want him to return to school. Is that possible? Yes, that's what that survey was for, ma'am. Who asked that question? Great question. So if you didn't get that survey, it's due tonight. You can email or call the school and let them know that you want to have your child come in. I would do that tonight and leave a message with the front office staff on Mrs. Shepard or Mrs. Jones's voicemail. But this is it. So hopefully you got that email that I was referring to from the NHA Service Center. Good question. Got a few more minutes here. Let's get as many as we can. How will you know what group your child will be in? I already talked about that. We're going to look at the data. Once all the information comes in from that survey that we sent out, that's tonight, we will identify by household, and we will let you know if you're a blue kid or a gray kid. If you're in the blue group or a gray group, we will let you know. How many kids will be in the class? We don't want to have any more than 15 kids per class. Now, it probably won't be that many, but we don't want to have any more than 15 students in a classroom. It probably won't be that many, but when you look at the amount of square footage and you use the number of square footage divided by 15 kids, that should suffice to meet our expectations. We need to make sure that we are safe, and that's why it depends. Some class sizes might be smaller than others. So, for example, if we have more kindergartens, that might be a little bit, the class sizes might be a little larger. Some class sizes might only be 1 to 8. It all depends on the number of students within that respective grade level, but we do have a cap, and we won't exceed that cap because we don't want to risk anybody's safety. Another great question. Will there be a supply list sent out? Will students have books to take home? The supply lists are posted on our website, ma'am or sir. They're posted there. So if you want to go see what the school supplies are, please go to our AJB website. And Miss Jackson, one of my family student liaisons, or Mr. Uribe, if you could put those class lists again on Facebook so it's fresh and everyone can see them, I really would appreciate that. Thank you. Right now, we have our family student liaisons who are helping us write all these questions down, and so I'm getting them right now. So I appreciate you all. Can you opt out of a hybrid program at any time? If you do opt out, do you have to wait to rejoin? Yeah, you can't opt out at any time. Once you make your designation of if you want to be in the building hybrid or stay virtual, which you're already in, you have to stay with that. You have to stay with it. We have very logical times of when we will allow you to do it again. The next opportunity will be at semester break. We just wrapped up or about to wrap up with quarter one, which is a logical break. That's why we're starting school on October 19th. The next break will come at the end of quarter two, which is semester one. So it has to be at logical time. So if you decide to stay virtual, hey, no problem. We understand. We want you to have the power of choice. I talked about that at the last State of the School address. Just once you make that choice, you're there until the next logical break that happens. Will siblings be in the same group? Yes, I already mentioned that. We're going to try to keep the siblings in the same group. So, like I said, if all these individuals up here were my kids, I want them all four to be blue or gray. I don't want 2 on blue and 2 on gray. We're not going to do that. We're going to do it by family, so we know how hard that must be, and we know that families help each other out. You know, if I'm with my older sister, who I have an older sister, she had to be home with me because I would tear some stuff up at the house. So she needed to be home to make sure I didn't get in trouble or sneak out, because I was that type of kid. So we understand, parents, that you need to make sure that your oldest is there to help you out if you have to go to work. So we're going to try to do it by household. Will dividers be put in place in the class to protect the children? That's a great question. We're going to have kids separated. When we talk about, we have like decals within the room for sit spots to keep the spacing. As far as the dividers are concerned, we don't use those yet, but we do have face shields for our teachers that will help protect them from the students. When you look at all the data and who's more susceptible to the COVID-19 virus, it's people of older age, not so much young people, especially young people that are in the primary years. But our teachers do have masks on, students have masks on, and the mask, quite honestly, is the safest thing that you can use to prevent COVID-19. So if you have a mask and I have a mask or the shield, and we keep our distancing, we should be okay. I will look at getting dividers for small group instruction tables. They're just not here yet, and we don't know. We don't know yet if they'll be here at the time of opening. But everything else, in terms of the numbers, in terms of the sit spots, in terms of the markings and how to walk to the building safely, the routines and procedures, that's already done. That's another great question, though. Will students go face-to-face learning and they're supposed to take Chromebooks? When students go face-to-face learning, are they supposed to take the Chromebooks? Are they having different teachers from the virtual class? You want me to get this? So
But they need their Chromebook.
they do, yeah. They do, thank you. Yes, they do need their Chromebooks. That's a non-negotiable, but I'm going to add to that. They need working Chromebooks. So please, kids, make sure you pack them in your backpack safely. They drop, they break, and it takes time to get those Chromebooks back. What do I mean by this? Everyone's asking about everyone's asking about cleanliness and to make sure that appropriate cleaning is happening. Every time a kid leaves AJB and we get a Chromebook back from a student to give another kid who wants to come to school, we have to wait 5 days to sanitize that computer before we hand out to the next person. So we don't want to make sure that we just don't, have germs all. We want the germs to stay with the kid that has it. But when they turn it in, we have to have a period of time where we sanitize that computer for up to 5 days. And so, yes, bring your Chromebooks. As far as the virtual teachers are concerned, if we have enough teachers or enough students, all dependent on numbers. So we might have some of our virtual teachers come back to the building to make sure we have enough teachers to create social distancing standards. It all depends on the numbers. So we don't want to go above 1 to 15, as I told you. So if we have more students that want to come back to hybrid, that means if we have more kids come out of virtual back to hybrid, teachers have to come with. The teachers will follow the needs of the students. The teachers will follow the needs of the students to make sure that we maintain those very expectations that we gave to you guys tonight. And I think I got through. Is there still fall break? We get 1 day for fall break because we started late, that Friday. But we do get 2 weeks off for Christmas, and I'm looking forward to it. Holiday break, sorry. I think we got through the uniform. I think we got through everything. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to end by this. This is not our last Facebook Live event. We're going to try to keep you informed. And that one? This one. All right. Sorry about that. My cameraman's trying to help me out. We're having a little bit of fun here. We're going to try to keep you informed and up to date. So we're going to have more of these events because we know it helps you. Do me a favor. Spread the word about the AJB app. Download the app. Tell all the parents that you know. We need them involved. Also, I want you to check the app and write your teachers on there to check for daily homework, because I've been on the teachers to put the homework in there, especially on Friday nights and also every other day, so you know what your child is doing. You should be able to click on the AJB app, go into the teacher, click on a button, and it should be real time of what that student's that day. The app was created as a tool to help you stay in touch with what your child's supposed to be doing. You may not be able to get into the Google Classrooms and everything else, but it's really easy when you take out a phone, push on an app, boom, and there's the homework. Hey, Mr. Hill, what were you supposed to do today? I didn't have any homework. Well, it doesn't say that right here because it says that Mr. Major said that you have to do these assignments or these activities, and you're telling me that's not true? That allows us to stay on top of our scholars, and it's a way for us to communicate. So teachers, please use the app, put in the assignments and the homework, so the parents, when they download this app, they can use it. Parents, if you don't see anything there, email your teachers directly and let the deans know, or myself, because we put a lot of time into this, and we want to use this tool. It makes things like this possible. Again, I want to stress the patience and grace around Driveline. You'll be getting those numbers soon. Our front office team will be helping you out and getting those numbers. I want you guys to look at the following things before we depart and say goodnight. I want you to talk to your scholar first and foremost about safety and about how important this mask is. You guys are trusting us to make sure that they follow the rules. We're going to do our very best, okay? But talk to them about safety. Make sure that they're ready to learn. And lastly, be patient with Driveline and our transportation system. Those are the things that I need the families to focus on, okay? Safety has got to be number one. This is a lifesaver. This mask is a lifesaver. So when you're around people all day long, this helps save lives. Please talk to your kids about that. Again, make sure they come to school ready to learn. And lastly, give us grace in our transportation and Driveline system. I got more questions coming in. I will try to answer these questions, and we'll put them on Facebook for some of the answers that are coming in. I'm getting a wrap-up signal here, but I want to thank all of you. Again, this is the last night that you can make your decision. Look for an email that was sent out by NHA about your choice, if you want virtual or if you want the hybrid model, okay? Check your inboxes, check your spam boxes. Just look for, just search National Heritage Academies, and hopefully you'll find that survey in there and get it in before midnight tonight. It cuts off at midnight tonight. That's why I wanted to do it tonight, to give you guys one last ditch effort to get it and to let us know your designation of your child. Without further ado, on behalf of Dean Terry, Dean Spivey, Dean Cummings, and Dean Davis, we want to thank you very much for everything, all teachers, interventionists, and I have to do this because everyone gives me a hard time. I just want to give a shout out to all of you. To all of you. We'll see you soon. Thank you.